we're going to talk a little bit about tires today. Now, how many of you remember, or the last time that you checked your air pressure in your tires? How many of you even remember what the air pressure should be in your tires, or where to check to know what the air pressure should be in your tires? Now, 75% of us this month will wash our vehicles, our car or truck, but only 15% of us will actually check the tire pressure in our vehicle. Most of us are simply just too preoccupied with our day-to-day lives to bother. You know, and you guys might remember about 13 years ago, the Ford Explorer had a lot of issues with the tires between Ford Explorer and Firestone. And over 20 million tires were recalled. And these tires were basically disintegrating on the trucks. They were separating the tread from the rest of the carcass on the tire. And that was being caused from low tire pressure, because Ford had issues with their vehicle not being able to pass safety standards, so they lowered the air pressure for the Ford Explorer to 26 psi, which is simply too low for the tire to maintain. It built up heat and it would separate. So like I said, so due to this low pressure, you'd have these blowouts, you'd have rollovers, you know, many people died from this. You know, so there's effects to maintaining your tire pressure, both to your own safety and as well just to your day-to-day finances. So first off, I do want to talk about where to find out what your tire pressure should be set at on your vehicle. So the first place to look is if you open up your driver door in your car, you'll have a little placard on the side of the door, and that placard will state a couple things. It'll state the tire size that should be on your vehicle, it'll state the air pressure that your vehicle should have front and rear, and it'll also list the maximum amount of cargo that you should be able to put in your vehicle for those tires, so that you don't, you know, overstress the suspension in the tires and, you know, cause issues. Now, when you think about trying to check your air pressure, a lot of us would think, okay, I'll look at my tires. And sure, if your tire was completely flat, you could look at it and say, that's a flat tire. But you could not look at your tires and say if it was 50% low. It's nearly impossible to say if your tires are 50% off on what their recommended air pressure should be set at. So what you need to use is you need to use a tire gauge. Now they have digital tire gauges, mechanical tire gauges. It's just a simple thing, goes on the side of the tire into the valve. And like I said, it just tells you what the air pressure is. You can get these at Walmart, O'Reilly's, most gas stations, anywhere. And technically, anytime your tire is more than 25% too high or too low, your tire is improperly inflated and it needs to be adjusted. Because underinflation is the #1 cause of all tire failures on the road. Now we're going to talk a little bit about underinflation here, is that if your tire is just 8 psi off from its recommended pressure, not only will your tires run about 9,000 miles less just in the mileage, and that happens due to being underinflated, and this can also happen for overinflated. I'm going to show you something here in just a second just to kind of give you an idea. And then the other thing is that you're going to get about 4% less mile per gallon or fuel economy. So, you know, it's going to affect your wallet, you know, every time you have to go buy tires and every time you have to get gas because of this. Now how that works is, I'm just going to use this as an example. If your tire was completely flat, it's going to look like this. Now if your tire is overinflated, the center of it's going to be raised up, so it's going to wear the centers of the tread off. Or if your tire is underinflated, your tire is going to be a little shaped like this. Now this is exaggerated, but again, the edges out here, the shoulders, are what's going to wear off, you know, during just driving around. Now, you know, issues like we talked about again with the Ford Explorer, underinflation. Heat will build up inside the tire, and as that heat expands inside the tire, it can cause delamination, where the glue that holds your tire together will actually come apart. Now, overinflation is another problem, not as common, but it can still be a problem. And the problems you're going to run into overinflation is you're going to get a harsher ride, you're going to have a little bit more of a smaller contact patch on the road. Like you can imagine how I said, instead of having your tire be flat, your tire is a little bowed. So instead of riding on the whole tire, you're only riding on the center. So you're going to have a little bit less tire pressure, or less, you know, contact on the road. You're also going to have reduced tire wear, like we talked about, and your tires are easier to puncture because they can't absorb any of the punishment from the road. Now, like I said, underinflation is the main problem with tires today, and that's what you need to check for. But the main causes for underinflation is weather. You know, every 10 degrees in temperature will cause about a 1 psi change in your tire. Now that we're getting into the winter months, it's really important to check your tires at this time, because we've all went from 80, 90 degree, 100 degree temperatures, at least some of us in Texas, And then that will drop all the way down to 20s, 30s, 40s. You know, you're talking 6 pounds of pressure that you're going to be losing in those tires. On top of that, every month your tires lose about 2 psi, because I mean the tire, like I said, itself, it'll hold air, but it's not airtight. Air will still leak out little by little, about 2 psi per month. So like I said, so you do want to maintain to always check your tires. Some of us I know might have TPMS sensors in our vehicles, and the TPMS sensor is great. It's a great tool, but like I said, a lot of times the light will only come on if your tire is over 25% off from the recommended pressure. Some of them, if all of your tires evenly deflate or overinflate at the same time, you know, just with, you know, there's no punctures in them. Like I said, those tires will not put off the light because they're all equal. There's no variance between, you know, the front right and the front left. So like I said, so it's really important to check your tires, use a gauge. Like I said, tire pressure is extremely important. You know, when you're driving your car on the road, the only part of your car that's actually touching the road is your tires. So it's really critical to make sure that you check your tires. It takes 1 to 2 minutes a month just to check your tire pressure every month. It's not that hard. You can do it when you're getting gas. It's just something that you really got to get into accustomed to. Again, 15% of us check our tire pressure every month. It's a really, really low number. So like I said, so you just want to be safe. You know, whether your car is going to have a blowout, you know, if that's going to cause you to swerve lanes, have an accident, you know, whether you harm yourself, harm another person in your car, harm another vehicle on the road. These are all things you got to maintain. And like I said, so just safety is critical. Check your tire pressure. Like I said, it's winter, tires are getting cold. This is the time to do it. All right, thank you.